I now call upon the public orator to present the honorary graduand, Sir Philip Craven MBE, for admission to his degree.
Vice-Chancellor, the Sheriff of Chester, distinguished guests, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. Sir Philip Craven was born in Bolton, has lived much of his life in Cheshire, and has dedicated his distinguished career to British and international sport as an internationally recognised participant, national manager, and for the past 14 years as President of the International Paralympic Committee. Sir Philip went to school in Bolton and was a keen swimmer, cricketer and tennis player. In 1966, he fell during a rock climbing expedition at Wilton Quarries in Bolton, the accident leaving him without the use of his legs. Undeterred, Sir Philip went on to obtain a Bachelor of Arts degree in Geography at the University of Manchester. He is fluent in French and also speaks German. Sir Philip has been pivotal in championing parasport and bringing the Paralympic movement to global significance. Many of you will remember with pride, and perhaps the odd goosebump or two, the London 2012 Olympics and the impassioned speech that Sir Philip made to the watching audience around the world, even upstaging global superstars such as Lord Sebastian Coe, challenging and encouraging us to value everyone in society and to use sport as a vehicle for bringing people, communities and nations together. When I asked Sir Philip about whether he had any nerves as he was about to address a global audience running into billions, Sir Philip simply replied to me, "Gosh, no." I just thought to myself, hey, I've got a great speech and I'm going to get this crowd buzzing. Creating a buzz, he certainly did. His speech was, he says, from the heart, prompting the world's media to declare that the London 2012 Paralympics were, and I quote, "the games that no one wanted to end." Sir Philip has and continues to be someone who, when he speaks, we listen. In spite of being a lifelong Bolton Wanderers supporter, Sir Philip is no mean sportsman in his own right. Between 1972 and 1988, he represented Great Britain on 5 occasions in wheelchair basketball at the Paralympic Games. He also competed in track and field athletics and swimming at the 1972 Paralympic Games. He won gold at the Wheelchair Basketball World Championships in 1973, bronze in the same event in 1975, as well as 2 gold medals in the 1971 and 1974 European Championships and a silver medal in 1993. He also won gold at the European Champions Cup in 1994 and gold at the Commonwealth Paraplegic Games in 1970. I note from his CV that he completed the 50-metre breaststroke in 59 seconds, almost certainly quicker than many of us here today would be able to achieve. It is, however, perhaps in his role as President of the International Paralympic Committee, a position that he has held since 2001, that Sir Philip is best known to us and millions around the world. In this capacity, Sir Philip has actively championed the participation in sport by everyone, though I'm sure he wouldn't wish to claim any credit if it wasn't for the determination, passion, commitment and sport constantly demonstrated by Sir Philip. The likes of Sarah Storey, Tanni Gray-Thompson and Dave Roberts, to name but a few, would almost certainly not have gone on to become world superstars and household names. His contributions to both the Paralympic and Olympic movements are immense. In addition to being president of the International Paralympic Committee, since the early part of this millennium, he has been a member of the International Olympic Committee, an executive board member of the British Olympic Association, a member of the International Committee for Fair Play, a foundation board member of the World Anti-Doping Agency, a member of a whole host of other International Olympic Committee commission groups, and, of course, a member of the London 2012 Organising Committee. This year, he has additionally taken on the role of chair of the IOC's Olympic Education Committee. What's the saying? If you want something doing, ask a busy person. Can I at this point give you a few statistics? The London 2012 Paralympics were watched by an estimated cumulative global audience of 3.8 billion. It has recently been estimated that the Rio 2016 Paralympics will be seen by a cumulative global audience exceeding 4 billion for the first time ever. Just in case you thought that you just misheard what I said there, I did indeed say a global television audience of over 4 billion people. Also, for the first time ever, the 2016 Paralympics will be screened live across the entire United States by NBC. As these figures dramatically demonstrate, the increased awareness of the Paralympic movement that has been secured by Sir Philip has been, quite simply, phenomenal. Commenting on the Paralympic movement, Sir Philip is very clear that he has no grand plans for change. At the same time, he was keen to impress upon me that this was not because he lacks ambition, but rather, more simply, that he believes that the structures that are in place are right and that the push now must be upon substantially increasing levels of awareness, understanding and participation. Sir Philip confided in me that colleagues in the Paralympic movement have nicknamed him the fearless leader. Perhaps more telling is the honour bestowed upon him by the Musqueam First Nation Red Indians in Canada, who refer to him as the ferocious warrior. The list of honours bestowed upon Sir Philip is, to say the least, impressive. Some of his honours include, and this list is, I can assure you, just a sample, la Médaille d'Argent de la Jeunesse et des Sports by the French government in 1973, the Gold Medal of the City of Athens in 2004, in 2006, an Order of Merit from the Italian government, the Gold Medal of the City of Torino, and the Juan Antonio Samaranch Disabled Athlete Award. In 2012, a Sports Industry Lifetime Achievement Award and a Humanitarian Award for Global Sports Development. And in 2014, an Order of Honour from the Russian Federation and a Légion d'Honneur from the French government. As if that wasn't enough, Sir Philip was made a member of the Order of the British Empire by the Queen in 1991 for services to wheelchair basketball, was inducted into the Stoke Mandeville Hall of Fame in 2003, and was knighted by the Queen in 2005 for services to Paralympic sport. Sir Philip's next major gig will be the Rio Paralympics in 2016. He has been keen to assure me that his schedule will be absolutely packed and that being an internationally recognised figure isn't always everything that it's cracked up to be. In the last 12 months, he estimates that he has travelled somewhere in the region of 250,000 miles in airplanes. I know that none of us sat here in the cathedral today on a cool, grey and damp November day is in any way whatsoever secretly jealous that Sir Philip will be spending 7 weeks in the warm sunshine of Rio de Janeiro and perhaps showing the occupants of the Copacabana beach a thing or two about how to play basketball and volleyball. More seriously, I'm sure that we all wish Sir Philip and everyone involved with the Rio 2016 Paralympics every possible success, not least since many of the caring, supportive and inclusive values of the international Paralympic movement very closely mirror those of our own university's founding mission, vision and core values. He has told me that we must all watch the closing ceremony in Rio. Apparently, it's a closely guarded secret that only he, his wife, and his driver are in on. It sounds intriguing. As for the Paralympics in Tokyo 2020, his simple comment to me was, "Look out, it'll be absolutely massive." Putting on one side for a moment any feelings I might have as a Yorkshireman speaking warmly about a Lancastrian, Sir Philip is one of life's rare inspirational leaders, someone who has dedicated their life to the promotion of sports for all and who has taken the Paralympic movement from something that was known by few to something that is now known and cherished by billions the world over. In your respective journeys through life, you may, if you are lucky, meet one or two individuals who inspire you to believe in yourself, believe in your abilities, and believe that with a little effort you can do something, no matter how small, to make the world a better place. Sir Philip is one such individual. If it wasn't for Sir Philip, who I first met and had the pleasure to have as a work colleague back in the late 1980s, I wouldn't be stood in front of you here today. Commenting to me upon his philosophy in life, Sir Philip observed that you've got to go with the flow and take the opportunities that are presented to you. Yes, you've got to have skills and knowledge, but you also need a passion. Without a passion for what you're doing, you'll never get anywhere. Many people, including me, have been touched by his kindness, his belief that good can be found in any situation, no matter how challenging, and by his unfailing belief that everyone, everywhere, has skills and capabilities that can add real value to the challenged society that we all live in. Put quite simply, Sir Philip is a genuine and unique world changer. Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the Senate and of the Council, I present to you Sir Philip Craven MBE for admission to the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa in this university.
By virtue of the authority invested in me, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa in this university. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It gives me great pleasure to invite Sir Philip Craven to address the congregation.
Well, Vice-Chancellor, Sheriff, graduates, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, after all those laudatory words, I'm really stuck for something to say, but most people would say, well, I'm never stuck for something to say. And the fact that Chris Haslam, I've only just found out that he's from Yorkshire, our relationship might have been different if I'd known that sooner. But however, Chris, I don't know where you got all those words from, but really you did mention one word that's very close to me, and that's got to be passion, really, passion for what you do. Maybe I wouldn't be here if there weren't so many things that had to be put right in my sport of wheelchair basketball when I was a young player. And, well, I realized when I was a young player, and when I got to be an older one at around 26, then that's when I started going into battle. But I only wanted to right the wrongs because I loved what I was doing, and I think that really is very similar to everybody here. You know, you've all got your awards and degrees today, and you've worked hard for it, you merit it, but now what do you do? And you all love what you do. As the Dean of the chapel said about a vision, and that was repeated again by Chris Haslam, you have to have a vision. You have to have a vision that you've come up with yourself. Don't ask anybody else to come up with your vision. You've got to do it yourself. And that's what we did in the International Paralympic Committee in 2002. I'd been president for about 6 months, and we had to decide where we were going and what our vision was before we brought consultants in to assist us. And our vision is to enable, already heard that word today, para-athletes to achieve sporting excellence and inspire and excite the world. And that word enable is probably the most important because it's about individual empowerment and not somebody else doing it for you, but you getting on and doing it yourself. And well, sporting excellence for athletes, you might think that's pretty obvious, but that doesn't mean a gold medal at the Paralympic Games. That can mean the individual in an African nation showing up once a month to play wheelchair basketball, or indeed another sport. I would be biased to wheelchair basketball, but doing another sport and enjoying it and getting something out of it and moving their lives on through it. And to inspire and excite the world, well, again, you might think that's pretty obvious, but before Paralympians inspire and excite the world, they surprise the world. And that's one of our big selling points, actually, and something that I do use. And once you've surprised, inspired, and excited, then you can look to even changing the world. So, get yourself a vision. My function as president is to ensure that the vision is still relevant to our organization. Where are we now? 13 years on from when it was written. We've made 1 or 2 adjustments, but very few. And if you look to values, well, we have 4. Courage. Athletes never think they're courageous. Everybody else does, and so that's why we've got it in there. Determination, again, that's been mentioned today. Inspiration and equality, and probably equality of opportunity. That's what we're about, really. And I've always thought, but it's only started coming to fruition in the last few years, that sponsorship, for example, we don't want sponsors just because they've got money. We want our values to really match up and equate with their values. And that's what we have now with BP. They're a sponsor of the International Paralympic Committee, and Allianz, the big German insurance company. It's all about values and a bit of money after we've got the values sorted out. Looking to personal development, well, I think the Vice-Chancellor's covered most of that. You've got your degrees, congratulations on that. But have a plan, but keep it flexible. And take advantage of the opportunities. Take the risks, as the Vice-Chancellor said. Calculated risks, of course, but go for it. That's what I did, and it paid off. But it is about decisions. You can go left, you can go right, you can go forward, you can even go backwards if you're going to position yourself in a better position, or you can stay where you are. But it's decisions that will make your life. Follow your passion. And if you do, there'll be an endless thermal reactor within you of never ceasing human energy. I can assure you of that. But to be a leader, you don't have to be a boss to be a leader. Anyone can be a leader. And my last example of that is my daughter. She had her 3rd son on Friday morning at 1 o'clock. She knew there was something wrong with him. The senior registrar wasn't sure, and she said, "I'm not going home, there's something wrong with this lad." And since then, he's now got quite a bit better. I want to say to all you health workers, the midwives were fantastic. And I've not got a lot more to say now, but But if there are things wrong in your life, or with your work, or with, I don't know, even your love life, fix them by communication. Don't think they'll get fixed if you don't talk about them. And realize that face-to-face communication is the thing that really counts. I know we've got all these devices these days, but for me, that's just an assist to communication. Speak face-to-face with people. Now, I know Chris said go with the flow. Well, I'm going to change that, Chris. Don't go with the flow necessarily, unless that means going with your passion. So go with your passion. I've got a definition for leadership, which is capability fueled by passion and experience. And I'm going to leave you with a couple of sayings, one from a man called Lao Tzu, who founded Taoism 2,600 years ago. And he said, your actions are your only possessions. And finally, of course, and topically, may the force be with you. Thank you very much.